Hey everyone, how's it going? So last night I stayed up to watch the Surface Pro 3 launch event, and I actually had a live Google Hangout just to show you some of my real-time initial reactions to the news. And so I was doing a lot of this last night.
How did they do that? And it's actually lighter, it's 800 grams. That is actually...
Watch how it clicks in. Now that is subtle. And when you click it, even if your device is off, you have to know you can write immediately.
Now that I've had time to sleep on it and to digest some of the information that's been coming out about the Surface Pro 3, I just wanted to give you some of my initial reactions about the launch. So as you might know, I'm a big fan of the Surface Pro concept. I've got a Surface Pro 2, I used to have a Surface Pro, and I've made a number of YouTube videos that kind of go through some of the different aspects of the device, and they've actually proven to be more or less my most popular videos on my channel. So I'm understandably very excited about the new Surface Pro 3. First of all, let's talk about the big thing that a lot of existing Surface Pro owners might be upset about, and that is that the Surface Pro 3 is coming out very soon after the Surface Pro 2 was released. It's coming out less than a year later. And you know, even in tech circles, that's quite an aggressive launch cycle. Now personally, I'm not terribly upset by this. A lot of people always say that with all these kind of devices, it's not like your Surface Pro 2 got any worse when the Surface Pro 3 came out. But I understand feeling upset if you just bought one of these machines and suddenly there's a new version, and especially that the new Surface Pro 3, because it's larger, it won't support the accessories and like things like the Surface Pro dock that was released for the Surface Pro 2. To me, that's not that upsetting because the Surface Pro 2 dock was never made available in Australia, so I never got the chance to buy one. And I always think that with any of these devices, I find that, especially with the Surface Pro, the resale value of these devices is so high on eBay that you aren't going to lose too much when you either go for the upgrade or you wait around for a while. Of course, your situation may differ, and if you're upset about the new Surface Pro 3, leave a comment on the video. I'd love to hear you know, the reasons why you might be upset by this new launch. The other thing that the Surface Pro 3, as I said, what they've done with it is that they've basically fixed most of the physical issues that I had problems with on the original Surface Pro and the Surface Pro 2. The one big thing is that they've made it bigger, so it's got a 12-inch screen now, but it's also thinner and lighter, which is really quite amazing. So Microsoft has really cheekily put up on their website a comparison with the, I believe, the Retina MacBook Pro. So the Surface Pro 3 without the keyboard now weighs about 800 grams versus the 1.6 kilograms of the Retina MacBook Pro, and that's quite a substantial difference in weight. Even if you were to add the keyboard, and the keyboard weighs about 200 grams, that is still significant. It's going to be about the weight of a MacBook Air, and about an 11-inch MacBook Air with the screen size of 12 inches. It's much thinner now, which isn't such a big deal, but when you pick up the Surface Pro 2, you'll find that the thickness does feel a little clumsy, it does feel a little awkward, so that's a really positive change. And the screen now is 12 inches, and it's a higher resolution, so it is a, let's just look this up because I haven't memorized all this information. It is, sorry, I can't find the text spec immediately, it is a 2160 by 1440 display. And in terms of pixel density, that means it's slightly more pixel dense than the original Surface Pro 2. It's now 214 pixels per inch versus 208. So with the bigger screen and the same kind of, around the same kind of pixel density, I think that's a really good thing. Just because I sometimes find things like playing games with small UI elements, that kind of thing, can be a little difficult on the 10-inch screen of the Surface Pro. And I think Microsoft has really realized that the niche that the Surface Pro 3 really should hit is as a laptop replacement, and they should stop marketing it as a tablet replacement, and therefore they're going to go for a bigger screen that's going to be more comfortable for more people. So that's really positive. Again, UI scaling is always going to be an issue with really high pixel dense displays, and a lot of programs on Windows 8, particularly in Windows 8 desktop mode, simply just do not display properly on such a high density display. All the buttons are quite small. This will improve with a bigger screen, and of course things like Photoshop. Adobe at the launch event just demonstrated a new version of Photoshop where they had scaled up all the user interface elements by a factor of 1, so everything is twice as big, and everything is kind of touch enabled and everything. So that's really exciting, and I'll be excited to get my hands on the new version of Photoshop. So the other big change they've made is with the new trackpads, the new type covers. The new type covers are bigger, of course, to match the bigger screen, but they also have a much bigger trackpad, and that's also a good thing because as the launch event kind of made clear in some of the statements, the trackpad on the Surface Pro 2 is kind of garbage. It's really tiny, there's a lot of friction, it's not very nice to use. So they've focused on making the trackpad bigger, less friction. They want people to actually enjoy using the trackpad, I guess. And hopefully when I get the trackpad in my hands, I'll be able to report whether or not it has been a big improvement. The other really cool thing about the new type cover, what they've done is that they've changed it so that the front part of the type cover now folds in with magnets, and you can fold it in like that and it'll rigidly attach to the front of the Surface Pro 3. And because it rigidly attached, it's more of a stable kind of, more of a stable one-piece unit. This is really exciting, and perhaps you have to own a Surface Pro to kind of really understand why this is such a big deal. But having a rigid one piece means that when it's on your lap, it doesn't wobble around quite as much. The problem with the Surface Pro 2 is that because of the heavy weight of the screen and the comparatively light weight of the keyboard cover, it never felt that stable on the lap. It's still okay for typing, but it's not really an experience that makes you feel great. So when I've been using this new HP Chromebook, which I'll just bring out here, this is a really cheap computer, and it's, you know, garbage in many respects, to put it harshly, but it is a cheap computer that has a lot of cheap things going for it. But the one really nice thing about the Chromebook is that it is one solid piece, and when I've been playing around with this for a week now and just typing on the train with it, I really have enjoyed having that solid hinge and that sense of physical stability, which I've really lacked in the Surface Pro 2. I don't believe that the Surface Pro 3 will completely feel like a new, completely like a rigid laptop, just because the screen weight is still going to be higher in the kind of display element of the screen, and also the keyboard cover is still going to be flexible. It's still not going to be as rigid in feel as a kind of flat board, but it is a really positive sign to see Microsoft taking on feedback and making this kind of innovative change with the keyboard cover. So that's really exciting. And of course the new type cover comes in a variety of colors. So really cool color. Now that you've got this royal blue color, which I saw in the launch event, I'm kind of really thinking that that's the cover that I'm going to choose. It's a really nice little thing. One thing you'll notice is that there is no touch cover 3. So I think Microsoft has abandoned that experiment, and I believe that that's probably a good thing, because the touch covers were not good for typing, as you saw in my comparison review videos. Anyway, the last new element of the Surface Pro 3 is the new kickstand, and the new kickstand is actually completely variable angle now, as you see in that picture. So instead of just clicking out between 2 or 3 positions, the Surface Pro 3 now has a kickstand which moves smoothly through a number of degrees of angle until it actually gets to almost flat on the surface, and that's really a great thing if you're going to do illustration and sketching, but also just in general. I find that the more you can tilt the screen of a computer back, the easier it is to use in your lap or when you're standing up and just staring down at it, because you don't have to necessarily bend your neck quite as much to use the computer. Now, The Surface Pro has always been pretty decent. I guess the Surface Pro 2 in that respect, because of the IPS display, the viewing angles aren't such a bad thing. But the new kickstand does look like a really good improvement. Okay, so the last thing that is actually really interesting about the new Surface Pro 3 that I found was the new pen. Now, the new pen actually is a completely different pen. It's not a Wacom digitizer anymore, and it appears to be an n-trig digitizer, which is a different company that makes these kind of digitizers. So the pen is now battery powered, so I guess it will weigh slightly more, and it enables a functionality where if you press the lid of the pen, it launches a new version of OneNote to take notes, which is kind of what they're really gearing it towards in the event. So they wanted to demonstrate that you can use it kind of like digital paper. The one drawback about the new pen is that it doesn't support the 1024 pressure sensitivity levels of the original Wacom digitizer on the Surface Pro 2. The new n-trig digitizer only supports 256 levels of pressure sensitivity. It remains to be seen how this will play out in practice for artists and illustrators. Obviously, less pressure sensitivity is a bad thing because, you know, you can't necessarily get as much fine control over the thickness of your strokes and that kind of thing. But maybe 256 will still be good enough for basic sketches, so it's hard to say until you have the device in your hand. One thing that Microsoft claims in the Surface Pro 3 event is that they have actually reduced the thickness of the entire display stack so that the digitizer element, the actual network that is in the display, is closer to the glass. So because the pen nib is now closer to the digitizer, there's more accuracy and there's less parallax, and this is an important thing because on the Surface Pro 2, because of the distance between the actual sensor on the pen and the digitizer surface, you would sometimes find that the actual drawing element was not properly tracking with the actual pen, and especially when you got to the edge, to the surfaces of the when you got to the edge of the screen and your pen was tilting a little bit more, that distance increases, the distance between the stylus and the screen, and so it would get increasingly more inaccurate. So hopefully with the new thinner display stack, this is going to be improved. You're going to get better tracking, and that may or may not offset the loss of sensitivity levels. So again, we'll have to see what that is like. I know that's going to be a big turnoff for a lot of people who are considering the Surface Pro 3 as a tool for illustration, especially with that big, new, beautiful display, but I think we have to see how it works. The other thing about the new spec is the GPU is the same, so with the higher resolution and the same HD 4400 GPU, I would not expect gaming performance to increase. I actually expect it probably will decrease in some ways, because if you're trying to drive the display at native resolution, it's just going to be more difficult for the Intel GPU. But that's not such a big loss. I think the display on the Surface is pixel dense enough that if you were to play at lower resolutions, it still looks really brilliant. It's still a really nice display, and that hasn't changed with the new Surface. Anyway, that's kind of all my reactions in one big go. Thanks for watching this video. Please click the like button if you found it helpful. Let me know in the comments what you think about the new Surface Pro 3. I'm certainly really excited about this new device. You can talk to me on Facebook at facebook.com/LachlanLikesAthing, on Twitter at LachLikesAthing, and yeah, let me know what you think of this new device.